The crisp mountain air in Denver always reminded Eleanor Hayes of her nursing days. Long shifts at the hospital, saving lives one patient at a time. At 68, retired for 3 years, she lived in a cozy ranch-style home in a quiet suburb, surrounded by photos of her only daughter, Sarah, and son-in-law, Mark. Eleanor had raised Sarah alone after her husband's fatal car accident when Sarah was 10. She'd worked double shifts, skipped vacations, and poured every spare dollar into giving Sarah the best: college tuition, a down payment on her first car, even therapy sessions during tough times. But the real drain started 4 years ago when Sarah married Mark. "Mom, we're struggling," Sarah had said over coffee one morning. "Mark's freelance photography isn't steady and my teaching job barely covers rent." Eleanor didn't hesitate. She dipped into her retirement savings to pay off $28,000 in Sarah's lingering student loans. Then came the car payments, $450 a month for their SUV, because we need reliable transport for work. Over 4 years, it added up: groceries when they were short, utility bills during Mark's slow seasons, even a $2,500 emergency vet bill for their dog. Eleanor never tallied it exactly, but she knew it was north of $40,000. She ate simpler meals, mended her own clothes, and postponed that dream European river cruise she and her late husband had planned. Sarah talked endlessly about their wedding renewal in Aspen. "It's going to be magical, Mom. Destination vibe, snow-capped peaks, cozy lodge. You'll love it." Eleanor got excited. She bought an elegant emerald dress for $300, matching shoes, and even plane tickets to Aspen, assuming she'd be there. "Just tell me the final date," she'd text Sarah weekly. One Tuesday evening, Eleanor called. "Sweetie, wedding details? I'm all set with my outfit." Sarah texted back, "Oh, Mom, it's destination only for our closest circle. We kept it micro. You understand, right? Not everyone fits the vibe. Love you." Eleanor stared at the screen, heart sinking. Micro? She'd helped plan the original wedding 5 years ago. Confused, she checked Facebook that night. There it was, a lavish weekend album, 40 guests laughing in a rustic Aspen lodge, champagne toasts, a string quartet, Sarah in a flowing white gown. Eleanor had chipped in $800 for wedding extras last month. Mark's parents, who never contributed a dime to the couple's finances, front and center. Siblings, cousins, college friends, all toasting. No Eleanor. She sat in the dark, tears streaming. The emerald dress hung useless in her closet, a symbol of her shattered expectations. Why? She'd been their financial rock, their safety net, but apparently she didn't fit the vibe. The pain cut deep like a scalpel from her nursing days. The next morning, Eleanor brewed her usual black coffee and sat at the kitchen table, staring at crumpled bank statements. She'd given so much. Why exclude the woman who'd sacrificed everything? Anger bubbled beneath the hurt, a new feeling after years of quiet giving. She decided not to call or text. Instead, she took a long walk in the nearby park, the Rocky Mountains looming in the distance. For the first time in years, she thought about herself. A month passed in quiet reflection. Eleanor joined a local book club where she met women her age sharing stories of family joys and pains. She reconnected with old nursing colleagues over lunch, laughing about past shifts. She even started yoga classes at the community center, feeling her body strengthen as her resolve did. The calls from Sarah trickled in at first, casual check-ins, but Eleanor kept responses short. Then, one frantic afternoon, the phone rang. "Mom, it's an emergency." Sarah's voice was hysterical, edged with panic. "The credit card bill is at $9,000 and collections are calling non-stop. You co-signed it last year, remember? If we don't pay, it'll ruin our credit. We could lose the apartment." Eleanor paused, sipping her now cold tea, the words vibe echoing in her mind. She'd co-signed that card thinking it was for emergencies, not luxury spending. Calmly, she replied, "I remember, Sarah. but I've decided I only cover expenses for people who consider me close enough for the vibe. You made your circle very clear at the wedding." Stunned silence stretched across the line. Then Mark snatched the phone, his voice booming. "What the hell, Eleanor? You're being spiteful, hoarding your assets out of some petty grudge? If you don't help, we'll have no choice. We'll claim you're mentally unstable and file for conservatorship. You're not thinking straight." Eleanor's hands shook, but her voice stayed steady. "Do what you must, Mark, but my money is mine now." She hung up, heart pounding. Conservatorship? Declaring her incompetent to take control of her finances? The betrayal stung worse than the wedding snub. That afternoon, she searched online for Elder Law Attorneys Colorado and made an appointment. By evening, she sat in Carla Ruiz's office, a no-nonsense lawyer with a reputation for protecting seniors. "Mrs. Hayes, this sounds like classic financial abuse," Carla said, reviewing the initial details. "They're escalating because the free ride ended. We'll freeze any joint accounts, document every transfer, and prepare a defense if they file. You're not alone in this." Eleanor nodded, a spark of strength igniting. For the first time, she felt seen, not as an ATM, but as a person deserving protection.
The threats didn't stop. Emails flooded in from Sarah. "Mom, you're isolating yourself from family. We're so worried about your mental health. Maybe it's time for professional help." Mark showed up unannounced one evening, banging on the door. "Open up, Eleanor. We need to check on you and get some family documents from your safe." Eleanor peered through the peephole, heart racing, but didn't answer. She called the police non-emergency line, and they escorted him away. That night, she changed all her locks and installed security cameras. Practical steps, not paranoia. Carla helped her tally the exact damage. Sitting in the lawyer's office with spreadsheets, Eleanor saw the numbers in black and white. $42,300 given over 4 years. Student loans, $28,000. Car payments, $8,100. Miscellaneous emergencies, $1,600. It was money from her husband's life insurance, her pension, savings meant for her golden years. "This is exploitation," Carla said firmly. "We'll use this in court if needed." 2 weeks later, the certified mail arrived, a petition for conservatorship filed by Sarah and Mark. Grounds: sudden irrational financial decisions, paranoia, security installations, and hoarding assets endangering her well-being. Eleanor read it twice, bile writhing. Her own daughter wanted to strip her independence. Carla reassured, "We'll counter strong. First, an independent psych evaluation." Dr. Patel, a respected neuropsychologist, spent 2 hours with Eleanor. Tests on memory, reasoning, decision-making. The report came back glowing. Mrs. Hayes exhibits exceptional cognitive function for her age, no signs of decline or impairment. Financial choices appear rational and self-protective. Armed with this, Eleanor prepared for the hearing. She packed a small overnight bag, nerves jangling like wind chimes in a storm. The court date dawned clear and cold, the kind of Colorado morning that promised snow. Eleanor wore the emerald dress she'd bought for the wedding, a symbolic choice, reclaiming it for her victory. In the Denver courthouse, Sarah avoided her eyes, sitting stiffly with Mark. Their attorney opened. "Your Honor, Eleanor Hayes has abruptly cut off support to her family, installed unnecessary security, and refused contact. This indicates cognitive decline and paranoia. Conservatorship is needed to protect her." Sarah took the stand first, tears flowing. "Mom was always generous. She helped with loans, cars, everything. But after our vow renewal, she changed. She's isolated, spiteful. We're terrified she'll squander her savings or hurt herself." Carla cross-examined sharply. "Miss Thompson, how much has your mother given you and your husband in the last 4 years?" "Some help. I don't know exactly." "Would 42,300 sound right? And yet you excluded her from your micro-wedding that had 40 guests, including extended family?" Sarah stammered, face flushing. "It was intimate." Intimate enough to post photos online, but not to invite the woman who financed your life? The courtroom murmured. Sarah stepped down, avoiding Eleanor's gaze. Mark testified next, his voice laced with anger. She's not herself anymore. Cutting us off without warning? That's unstable. We just want to manage her affairs for her own good. Carla stood. Mr. Thompson, at 34 with a stable job, why do you still rely on a 68-year-old widow to pay your bills? Mark shifted. Times are tough. Tough enough to co-sign a credit card knowing she'd bail you out, then threaten legal action when she says no? No coherent response. Then Eleanor sighed. Dr. Patel testified, flawless results, superior memory, reasoning, no red flags. Book club friends spoke. Eleanor is sharper than ever, leading discussions with insight. The neighbor, she's thriving, not declining. Finally, Eleanor took the stand, voice steady. I loved my daughter unconditionally. After my husband died, she was my world. I gave $42,300, not loans, gifts, because I wanted her happy. But when she renewed vows in Aspen, excluding me while inviting 40 others, saying I didn't fit the vibe, it broke something. I realized I was buying affection, not earning love. Stopping the money was self-preservation, not spite. Sarah's attorney cross-examined. Isn't this isolation a sign of paranoia? Eleanor met his eyes. No, it's boundaries. For years, calls came only for money. Now, I choose peace. The judge deliberated an hour. No evidence of incompetence. Mrs. Hayes' decisions are rational. Petition denied. Cost to petitioners. Eleanor exhaled, tears of relief. Outside, Sarah approached. Mom, why fight us? Eleanor, because you fought me first. I hope you learn independence. She walked away, head high. Victory tasted like fresh snow. Eleanor listed her house the next week. It sold quickly, netting enough for her move. The 55-plus community in Boulder was vibrant. Heated pools, art classes, hiking groups. Her new condo overlooked the Flatirons, a far cry from her old suburb. Settling in, Eleanor reflected on the ordeal. The group idea sparked during a community coffee chat. Financially ghosted parenthood, she called it. A support circle for seniors drained by entitled adult children. The first meeting drew 5. Stories of sons demanding inheritances early, daughters guilting for bills. My boy sued for my pension, one shared. They laughed through tears, bonding over shared pain. Eleanor led with her tale, offering Carla's card for legal tips. The group grew to 12, meeting weekly. It healed Eleanor, turning victimhood to advocacy. She volunteered at a senior center teaching Boundary Setting 101. Friends multiplied. Bridge nights, theater trips. For her 69th birthday, she booked the cruise. The European river cruise was everything she dreamed. Boarding in Budapest, Eleanor marveled at the Danube's shimmer. Her first-class cabin had a balcony. She sipped wine, watching Hungary's countryside glide by. Vienna's palaces, Salzburg's hills, each stop a postcard. She toured alone but joined group excursions, chatting with fellow travelers. Widowed too? One asked. Yes, but thriving now. No regrets about the money given. It taught her value. Back in Boulder, the group thrived. One member won a similar court battle, crediting Eleanor's story. Sarah and Mark? Radio silence. A cousin mentioned they'd downsized to a smaller apartment, Mark taking a corporate job. Eleanor smiled. Adversity building character. She gardened, painted, lived fully. Freedom was her greatest gift. Eleanor's retirement had been simple but fulfilling before the drain began. Mornings with coffee in the Denver Post, afternoons volunteering at the hospital's senior clinic. Sarah's calls were highlights until they became pleas. Mom, just $500 for the car repair. Eleanor always said yes. The Aspen talk started innocently. Sarah FaceTimed. Renewing vows, Aspen Lodge, intimate group. You'll be there, right? Eleanor beamed. She shopped for the dress, envisioning photos. The text shattered that. Nights after, Eleanor scrolled photos obsessively, heart aching. Mark's mom's comment, Perfect day. Salt in the wound. She confided in her sister in Seattle. They used me. Cut them off, Sis advised. The $9,000 call cemented it. Post-call, Eleanor walked, breathing deep. Carla's meeting was a lifeline. We'll protect you. Freezing accounts felt rebellious. Mark's visit. Let me in. Police came. Trespassing warning. Satisfying. Tallying $42,300 hurt. Her cruise fund gone. Petition day, she read allegations. Delusional hoarding. Rage fueled her. Eval with Dr. Patel. Puzzles, questions. You're fine. Court prep, mock questions. Hearing, Sarah's tears seemed rehearsed. Carla dismantled them. Eleanor's testimony, raw, powerful. Ruling, sweet justice. Post-court, Eleanor hugged Carla. New life starts now. House sale, bittersweet. Packing memories, she donated Sarah's childhood things. Boulder community, welcoming. First night, stars brighter. Group idea from a chat with neighbor Pat. Similar story. Let's start one. First meeting, coffee, tears, laughter. Eleanor's leadership shone. Group sessions became therapy. My daughter only calls for money, one shared. Eleanor set boundaries. Legal tips from Carla's visits. Membership grew. Eleanor's confidence soared. Birthday cruise booking, exhilarating. On board, she journaled gratitude. Budapest markets, Vienna waltzes, solo but not lonely. Met a widow from Texas. Similar story, cut off my son. Bonded. Home, no Sarah contact, fine. Rumors, they struggled but adapted. Eleanor gardened, took art classes, life full. One group night, a member won court. Celebration. Eleanor toasted. To us. The end. The cruise's final day in Amsterdam, Eleanor reflected on her journey, from giver to empowered. No bitterness, just peace. Back in Boulder, the group was her family. She traveled more, Grand Canyon, New York. At 70, she felt reborn. The Aspen snub, a blessing in disguise. Freedom's price, worth every penny saved.